Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're from. Welcome, Krypto Kings, episode 2. I'm your host and mate Llama Bull, and let's get straight into the price action. It's Wednesday the 6th of June in Australia, and pretty much we're going to go right off the top with BTC hitting at 10,105. Everything is in the green today, although we have had a bit of a down start to the week. But that is normal. Everything's pretty much trading sideways. Ethereum sitting at $808.44. Ripple has gone to 89 cents, up 2.87%. We actually seen an increase up to 93 cents yesterday or the day before. So if you did take profit and sold, congratulations to you. We're in a little bit of a correction. I'm not sure whether the bulls or the bears are in control. Everyone throughout the market is a little bit confused of what is actually going on. I think if you're in it for the long time, good on ya. If you're in for the short time, you're going to have a hell of a ride getting cut up, I reckon. Bitcoin Cash still sitting up at $1,530.18, up 3%. EOS sitting at 18.87%. They still have their mainnet in the go at the moment, so they're still frozen as is. Litecoin sitting at 162.89, struggling to get back up to that $200 mark. But as we know, the market is down all in all. ADA of Cardano is at 28 cents, still holding. I think this is a really good time to buy, especially in this sort of bearish kind of small market. Although in the last 2 years, we're kind of still in a overall bull market if you really want to look into it. Stella's at 39 cents, up 0.05%. Myota is $2.33 and up 1.5%. Tron sitting at 7.9 cents, up 2.72%. We did see it go all the way up to 10. I think it touched 11 cents. I'm not too sure. A couple of days ago, I think it touched. But we've had a little bit of a retracement, and I think it's actually really nice, especially if you bought in the crash a couple of months. I think February, March, where we hit that 250 billion mark. If you're still holding on to your coins, congratulations. You've almost doubled everything you put in anyway, so don't you worry about this market. Neo, $72.28. Monero, $223. Struggling to actually find its lower highs, is it? Dash, $426. Tether, that's where we go when we want to get out of here, is $1.33. Tether is all about the American dollar to the Australian. So if you want to know what the American dollar is super quickly, look at Tether, and it's $1.33 the American dollar is trading to the Australian dollar. Now, let's get on to some news. First cab off the rank is Google searches for Bitcoin nosedive. So if you're searching Bitcoin, it seems to be down about 75%. I beg to differ this. We have so much going on, and seeing in the last couple of months how much news and good news is rolling in. This is crazy. We've been constantly having good news for ages. And I feel like all this good news is actually so interesting, because I remember when Bitcoin was actually crashing last summer or your last winter for you Americans or wherever else you are in the southern or northern hemisphere. I feel like these are the news was so anti-Bitcoin and so murderous of Bitcoin and just slewing it everywhere. I feel like the media helped crash Bitcoin so hard. I feel like they had a hand in it, and it's all too fascinating for me. Now we've had 3 or 4 consecutive weeks of almost good news coming out of the crypto space, that it feels odd. It seems odd that we haven't actually had rises again. I actually thought that the crypto universe will tied to the news very closely, but I beg to differ with this. We're getting so much good news and no price action. Is that fascinating to you listeners? I feel like it is. And the fact that we're getting so much good news, whether it be Ripple or Tron or any of these other ones, and it feels like if there's any bad news, it seems people will just panic sell. But really, if we're sitting around that $330 billion mark, there's not really that many of us who are trading it around the world when you think about it. There's not many of us at all. and we consider that the Wall Street, the Nasdaq, have over $60 trillion in sitting there, and we still haven't had regulation. We're still waiting on the SEC and a few other things to finally get some hard and fast rules and regulation about regulation. And that's a very interesting point that I just want to point out with regulation. Let's say if this is the Wild West. I don't care what you have to say. This kind of industry is the Wild West, and we who are in it, I consider you pretty much cowboys in a good way. We are like the 1880s, like century of like the gold. The 1880s like gold rush, pretty much. Now, what's really interesting about this space, I guess if you've got us all playing in a football game, and there seems to be no rules in this football game, right? So we're all running around with our bags of cash that, and we're having a lot of fun doing so, and we're making money at the same time. And then all of a sudden you've got these big dudes with bags of trillions of dollars, pretty much, that they could lose all of it in one tackle. Right? Think about that. I want you to think about that carefully and closely, because this might actually change your view on how you view what the big players are actually thinking. Now think about this. We don't mind getting on a hit up or getting tackled and losing $50, $100, $200, man. Alright? It's unregulated. Anything could go to zero tomorrow. And I'm not scared to lose that, because I feel like I'm putting my best foot forward in this market to get results. And I feel like long term, this market has a long way to go, and I'm looking at this long term value. The SEC does not scare me, and the regulations do not scare me, and I'll tell you why. Alright? When the SEC, when they draw rules up on this football field of how we're going to play, how we're going to pass, how we're going to tackle, penalties, free kicks, whatever, in the cryptoverse, but guess what? Then the big boys will come in with their bags of trillions of dollars to play. Right now, it's not safe for them, because they could come in, first hit up, boom, $1 trillion gone, $1 billion gone, $300 million gone in one go. Alright, that is insane. So you can understand, with that analogy, why these big boys are sitting on the sideline right now watching all us having fun and running around. They want to get involved, but they want the lines. They want lines on the field. You know, and that's why I've got this thing up. It's not just because of football. Yeah, we have the World Cup coming up too. Go Australia. But you know, it's just so interesting. Like I think regulation is a good thing. Like regulation is such a good thing for the cryptoverse and the crypto space. And they actually threatened earlier this year, I don't know who said it, but they were threatening they were going to crash Bitcoin like never before. They were going to crash it. I don't know how you're going to push it down past that 250 billion mark, which is what we saw in February and March, but I reckon it's possible. And I reckon if that happens once more, I'd strap in. I'd seriously, if the market crashes anything below $250 billion or $200 billion again, I'd be hanging on, and I'd be buying that bloodbath like never before. Because what's going to come after that, and the media come down hard on the cryptoverse and Bitcoin, mate, and once regulation comes in, scares everyone off, what's going to happen after that will be the biggest run-up in history. And do you know where that like leveling out of where the actual is? Do you know where that playing field is, where all the rules and regulations are set in stone and everyone's playing by the rules? Do you know what that number is? I feel within myself, I'm not a financial advisor, this is my own opinion, and I feel very strongly about my opinion, but I feel like that sits somewhere between the 20 to 40 trillion dollar mark. And that's from studying the Nasdaq. That's from studying Wall Street. That's from studying. They're only having 1-2% swings. 3% they're freaking out because they're losing millions or they're making millions. Do you know how big that is? We're 300 billion at the moment. 330 billion on June the 6th. If anything happens, I reckon we're due. We're due for another big tilt. I reckon we'll go down to that 200 billion mark. And after that, man, I reckon it's going to be regulation. The media will slam it. Bitcoin will go down to all-time new lows. And you whip up as much as you can of the good and the best assets. I'm talking Ripple. I'm talking Tron. That's my plan. That's my game plan. Now, in more news, this one's crazy, and I'll finish the show off with this. It's not a high note. Well, it's a high, but it's a low note at the same time. Man presumed dead after tragic Mount Everest cryptocurrency stunt. This is how dumb and stupid ICOs are getting. Man, these are insane. And this is why the SEC needs to crack down this BS. Alright, so pretty much a man has gone up. He's buried about 50k US on Mount Everest, and they've asked people to go up to the peak and pretty much get it. Everest is the closest thing they could get to the moon, apparently. And he's pretty much died. The company knew someone had gone missing, but the status of so it's a Sherpa that's gone missing, pretty much. It's clearly unknown how he's died or what's happened. But anyway, thanks for listening to the episode 2 of the Krypto Kings. I'm Llama Bull, your host and mate. We'll catch you next time, and thanks for tuning in. Bye.